Is it
Yeah,
Dev?
yeah, Dev.
All right, brother. How's it going, man?
It's good, dude. How you guys doing?
Good.
We are doing good. Where are we talking to you at? Where you at right now?
I'm in my car. I'm just outside my work.
Sorry. What state are you in?
I'm in New Mexico,
Okay. Okay.
northern
Oh,
New
nice.
Mexico.
All right.
Right on. Well, we know that you had submitted a story to us. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
And you said you'd seen some strange things. Is New Mexico where they happened at?
it's actually New Mexico and Arizona.
Okay.
I've had these
Okay.
experiences. I've
Okay.
had quite a few. Then I was like, kind of like writing down stuff. Like me and my son, when he was in school, they're out for the summer. Me and my kids, I would drop them off at school in the morning, and we would always tune in on your guys' podcast and
Oh,
listen
nice.
every morning on the way to school. It's like
Awesome.
a good
Thank you.
40 minutes to drop them off. But yeah,
Awesome.
man,
Cool.
you guys are like the morning ritual.
Well, appreciate that.
Well, that's awesome. Heck yeah.
Glad we
Thank you.
can
Yeah,
entertain you guys.
yeah, it's cool, man. And yeah, it's an honor to be on the show. Where should I start? Let me see.
Start at the
We'll
first one.
start at
Start from the beginning.
the
Yeah.
okay, the first experience. Well, this was, I would say, like 2005. Um, we just recently moved away from Phoenix, Arizona. I grew up on the west side of Phoenix in Maryville, and my mom recently, at the time, she got diagnosed with cancer, and she wanted to come back home, like to her roots. She's from here, New Mexico, on the reservation, the Navajo reservation, and she wanted to come back home and be with her family. So we eventually like migrated this way. And my dad's from Arizona. He's from like a little area called Tonalia, and we were staying out there like for like the summer. I think I did like 2 semesters of high school there in my sophomore years, like the ending of it. And this first incident happened around that time. Um, just one night, man, we were house sitting for my grandma and my aunt because those are the people that we lived with. And for some reason that night, man, the power went out, and my dad was like, "Hey, man, you guys just want to walk over to my grandma's house?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure. Like, why not? Let's just go out in the dark and put ourselves in danger." And we have always heard stories of skinwalkers, um, just like things like that, like witches and shit. And pardon my language. I'm sorry. I tend to curse a little bit, but I'm gonna try to keep it at bay. But yeah, one night we just decided to go to my grandma's house, and this was, I would say, about half a football field's length away. So we were able to walk and talk and just have a brief conversation. So we were walking there on the dirt road, and we get to my grandma's house, and what happens, man? We forgot the trailer keys to her house, and we're like, God damn. And my dad is a little older, and we're like, man, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna run back. And I ran back by myself. I went inside my aunt's trailer, got the keys, and like from a traditional standpoint of like the Navajo, um, we were told like if we're out and about to protect ourselves, we got to use ash, like from the fire. You got to like pray on it, then put it on your body. And specifically, I would always put it on my forehead before I went to bed, and I would put it on the doorknobs before we went to bed. Just I would consider myself like I was the head of the household. Like I would always make sure that everybody was good, safe. I always made sure there was a fire going, but it was just routine to do that, and I just felt the urge to do that, and I put it on my forehead, and I walked out and locked the door, ran back, and So straight ahead from my aunt's house, we have the opening like to the road. You make a left, and I made that left, and it was either you go straight to the horse corral, or you make the left, and that's to my grandma's house. So you got to turn left, and I seen my brother standing there. Um, my little brother. He passed away a couple of years ago, unfortunately. Rest in peace. But just remembering the story, like I seen him standing there, and he was looking behind my aunt's house, and he was like kind of like looking, and he called my name towards that direction, and I'm like, what is he doing? I'm like, I'm standing right here, and I said his name. I'm not gonna say his name, but I said his name, and he looked at me like he snapped his head towards my direction. He's like, what the? Then I ran to him, and he's like, dude, who's that? And I was like, I looked that direction, and there was like I don't even know how to explain this, man. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this show called Adventure Time. My son watches that show. There's a ice king in the show. The way he looked, it looked like that creature that I seen. And this thing was like, they used to have like pit bulls. They used to like kind of like breed them, I guess. And these dogs were like buff, like swole. And those dogs were hurled up in the corner, and this thing was looking at them, and we were watching it. Then I think it knew that we were there, and it stood up. And like the way it stood up, it kind of like its neck, like it was popping its neck or something, like just like stretching it out. And all I could remember was the features were, it was tall. I would say about 7 feet, and it had like a long pointy nose, and he had like a beard, and he had long claws, and like something out of like an anime show or whatever. It launched off like it was getting ready, like how Superman does that thing before he takes off, and he pushed off the ground, and I remember seeing him just bouncing far away, like because like the moon was out, and I could see the figure bouncing, and it just off into the distance. And me and my brother just, you know, we booked it, and we got back to my pop, and my pop was just like, what's going on? Like, what happened? Because like, he could see us kind of like shooken up. But dang, we didn't tell him what happened. I still to this day haven't told him. And yeah, at that time, it was kind of creepy. And like a little bit after after that incident, we would be outside, playing hacky sack, playing tag, whatever. We would hear like whistling in the distance, and when you hear those at night, it's you better get inside. That's you're not even supposed to be out at night, to be honest. Um, yeah, that was the first incident.
Dev, you said that this thing looked like what off the show Adventure Time?
I think it's the Ice King. The Ice King, yeah. He's
Yeah,
like
that's true.
that's exactly what like it when I think about it, like the face looks like it, but not the body. The body was more slender. And what was really weird about this was the whole body was white, like, and it was like radiating. It wasn't like the shadows in the back of the house weren't like blocking it, or like from its color. It was like how could I say, like a comic book thing. Like it was just like it looked like it was like a drawing, like it was being drawn. I don't know if you remember those Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I think it was the one where the kids got the powers, but one of the guys was like really into comics. It was like that. He got sucked into the comic, and it was just like weird. Like that's the way I seen it. And I asked my brother the same thing too, and he was just like, "Yeah, that thing was it was white and it looked weird." and it was tall. Like it was probably one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
But yeah, that was some crazy. Yeah, I was about 15 at the time. Yeah, that was my first encounter with. I can't really say what it is. I don't want to say it was a skinwalker because the way I was told, things like skinwalkers are not necessarily dogmen, but they just use animals to change
Sounds
form.
it sounds
Yeah,
more like maybe a rake kind of creature,
yeah,
right?
or something. Yeah, like, but I don't know about rakes. Ah,
Or something of that, something along that line.
yeah, it was.
Maybe more demonic than
Um, yeah, or something like. It didn't seem like in this dimension or whatever. Like, this is like something from somewhere else, or it didn't. It didn't seem real. It was like something like you could think of and imagine, and like say in a nightmare, but in reality, it's just I don't know. I couldn't really explain it, man. And it was crazy because this was of all houses in that area. Like when you're on the reservation, it's like a house, then 3-4 miles, it's another house. It's like that. Everything's scattered out. Of all houses and times, like that thing was there. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I hope I never see that thing again.
Right on. Well, what else happened to you then?
Then, uh, let me see. At that same around that same time too, like okay, I used to be I used to smoke a lot in high school, just how it is, like kids go out and drink and smoke. And I used to smoke these cigarettes called Prime Time. And I remember I got done with like a bunch of homework because I was really behind. And um my cousin, she was cooking, and my dad was, I think he was watching TV or something, and my brothers, they were doing their homework. And I got done and I was like, man, I'm gonna go have a smoke break. And I went on the porch, same spot, same house. And I went out on the porch, and I remember I put my arms up on the porch, and like you can see the moonlight because out on the reservation, you can see everything, like the stars, the moon. It just it's beautiful. Like I was outside and it was kind of cold, a little chilly, and I'm smoking my cigarette, and I could remember to my left there was a light pole, and it wasn't like a bright white, it was like orange, and it just it was the only light pole. It was on this side, and I could see out in front of me. And they had another trailer over here, and they had two little sheds. And as I was sitting there, smoking my cigarette, um, I can hear this, like, how like horses when they gallop, it goes like, "Tuk, tuk, 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 tuk." And I'm like, what the hell is that? But it wasn't a horse. It was. It wasn't like I know it wasn't a horse because the way the foot like movement or the sound, it was like doom, 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 like firm. It wasn't like tick, tick, like how it clicks. And I can hear like this thing running like in front of me, like not towards me, but in front of me, directly in front of me. And it was this big ass wolf, like, or a dog. I don't know what it was. But from where I'm standing, I was probably like 3.5, 4 feet in the air. It was probably a little bit above my shoe. No, probably like midway shin. And I'm standing there, and this thing is like 4 feet from the ground up, and I'm just looking at it like running. And the way I like when it first came in, I could hear it breathing like it was like tired, like exhausted. And it like through these two sheds, it made like a sharp right, and it went boom, and it darted off. Then we had like these like kind of like 6 foot tall like fences, and they were barbed wire. And this thing, I heard it like jump, and it went boom, and then like it kept running to the left, and it ran up the hill. And the crazy thing about this was, I would say about 10, 20 seconds after, all these trucks, like these off-road trucks, came smashing through our property, and there was guys with guns, and it was just all sorts of, I don't know, it was crazy. Like they were chasing this thing. I don't know if it killed like some livestock or whatever, but that thing was huge. And I remember my dad coming out and my cousin, and they're like, "What the heck's going on? Like, what was that?" And I was like, these people are chasing something, and I was like, I don't even know what the heck I just seen. Like it was a like an overgrown wolf or like a husky or something. And yeah, a little bit after that, like my dad had a rifle. It was actually my aunt's rifle, and we went out to the horse corral to check on the horses because that was their way of, I guess they would like trophy horses or something, like for rodeos and stuff, and those are like kind of like prized possessions. And yeah, man, like that was probably the last incident I had out that way. This was in Arizona, my dad's part of town.
They talk about dire wolves being out there. People are starting to see these overgrown wolves, and I'm not
Yeah,
talking about the dog man with his shoulders. Did this thing look like just a normal wolf, just a lot bigger? Did it have any kind of like,
it looked real muscular. Like it looked like it was on steroids or something.
okay. Did it look like it had shoulders, possibly?
I couldn't really tell you. Like I just remember like looking at it, and I think it knew I was there. And to be honest, I think it was scared because it was being chased, and it seen me standing there like I'm gonna join in or something, and it just like made a hard right. And like I don't know, that thing was huge. Like I don't. It could be a dire wolf. I've looked into those because I listen to your show a lot, and I would look up what you guys talk about. But this thing was huge, man. It was like, and this is out in the flats. Like I don't know, man. You could possibly say it is a dire wolf.
Did its ears look exceptionally large on
Yeah,
its
they
head?
were pointy, and what I could remember was I could see the ear, the shape of it, then the tip of it. It had like a long strand,
Okay.
and it was like it was wicked. Like it seemed.
Well, that sounds more like a dog man to me.
Yeah, it was. I don't know what it was like. It looked like if I was to approach it, it would probably kill me. To be honest,
Wow. How far away did you say it was from you? You think?
um, let me see the porch. This is about 4 feet in the air. I would say about 25 feet, maybe 20 feet
Oh,
away.
wow.
And it was scary because it put fear into me because I didn't know what was coming, but the way it sounded, like the breath and the way like in dirt, like the way the sound it was coming, like from the footsteps. Because I don't think like a human, you can't really hear them. Like you just hear like dirt and rocks moving, right? But this thing was like hitting the ground hard. It was like boom, 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 like heavy.
Hmm.
That's what freaked me out. Cause like I was smoking my cigarette and I literally stopped like, and I just used like my peripherals. Then I seen it come, and I was like, damn. And what freaked us out the most was like those trucks. It was like two or three of them, I believe.
Were they just kind of regular trucks, or were
No,
they?
they were like some lifted off road, like old school, like square body trucks.
I mean,
Had
did
the
they
lights on top.
did they
It was-
match, or were they just kind of different? Like,
no, they are all different.
okay,
These look like ranchers or something.
just some guys out this random truck. So these guys were out there somewhere, caught wind of this thing, knew this thing was out and about, decided to track it and kill it, probably, and were chasing it.
Yeah,
It just
like
starts coming
that's
your way.
yeah.
Very,
It freaked us out. Like, cause like I remember when my dad and my cousin came out, there was still dust in the air from the trucks. They're like, "What the heck happened?" I was like, "Shoot, some people just roll through here hot, strapped up, you know." And I told them what I seen. I was like, "I seen something like a giant wolf." And they're like, "What the heck? Like where? Like how, what do you mean?" And I'm like trying to explain it, you know.
what,
And what was that?
what color was it?
It was like almost like a husky, but not necessarily. It was black, like real black, and it had like streaks of like highlights. It was yeah, like had like highlights, and I noticed on its paws, like towards like the paws, they were a lot lighter, and I could tell that it was muscular because the light post to my left, right when it made that right, like I could see it like when it was about to turn, like the neck was like long and it was like and I could see the muscle. Like it was like boom, like this thing was like, man, I'm telling you, like it that area, like I was just like, damn, there's some like some monsters out here, like low key.
Yeah, a wolf, even a large wolf, um, you'll be able to tell if they're not muscular looking necessarily. They're lanky looking, especially their legs.
Yeah.
Although they're big in size. I mean, wolves can get up to like 180, 200 pounds, I believe.
Hmm.
But even then, at that size, they don't look muscular necessarily, or like you're describing it.
Yeah, it looked like, I would honestly think like if it was a dogman, that would have been a dogman because like I said, the muscle, like dogs don't just stand on their forearms or like their arms. If it was a dogman to stand up to get that kind of muscle in those areas, you know? Like it looked like it like biceps. It didn't have like, because I've seen wolves and my friends, they have German shepherds, huskies, and they're, how would you say, the joints or like they're skinny, like you said. They're skinny. This dog was like just full on muscle, and by the size of like the sound of it, it was just like really heavy. Like I can tell like this thing means business. Like hearing it come, like I could hear it from a distance, and I'm like, God damn, the heck is that? But yeah, that's the last incidents I had out that way. Like I haven't been out there much, you know.
So you had something else. You saw another creature yet, still, right?
Um, I have a couple.
Did you say you had a Bigfoot encounter, possibly, or
No, no Bigfoot. I want to see Bigfoot so bad, man. I Every time I hear you guys' stories about Bigfoot, man, I'm just like, damn. I hear stories of Bigfoot around here. I have a couple of friends that have seen it, but I'm not the one to tell their stories.
okay? Well, what
But
else?
let me see. I have a UFO encounter. Actually, several crazy. So when I moved this way to New Mexico, we were hanging out at a friend's house, and me and another friend were on a trampoline, and just talking, looking at the stars. And crazy thing, I blinked my eyes and I opened them, and there was a UFO directly, not directly over us, but over to like the far, I would say like the right, and it was like circles, like three circles, and they were going like this, like just spinning. You couldn't hear anything. It was just like, damn, what the heck is that? Because like a lot of like on the res, you can see satellites moving, and I know how they look. And this was like '06, 2006. And I asked my friend, I was like, dude, do you see that? And he's like, yeah, I see it. I was like, what do you see? And he said, I see a UFO and it's spinning right now. And I'm like, okay, just making sure because I don't want to make it seem like I'm hallucinating or whatever. And this thing was spinning. And I remember it just went boom and just disappeared, like it took off. And the crazy thing about that time was a little, I would say like 2 or 3 seconds after, like I think five like Apache helicopters flew off like towards that way, and they were like in like a pointed shape, like a triangle. And I just remember them flying over, and I could feel like the wind, and I'm like, oh, what the heck? Like, what the heck was that? And it was just so fast. And those helicopters, they're quick, and they're not, the way I heard it, it was like quiet, not necessarily like really loud. It was like stealthy. That's what I'm trying to say. And yeah, that's another incident I had. And I, from time to time, whenever I run into that person, I always ask, hey man, you remember when we seen those UFOs? And he's like, yeah man. And it was funny at the time, like, you're just joking around, and we're like, damn, this is how Power Rangers started. And like little jokes about that just to play it off. But yeah, it was a really creepy. And that's when I knew, I was like, damn, we do have that stuff is real.
Oh yeah, New Mexico is huge for UFOs and paranormal.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's a lot of energy, like, I think, out this way, to be honest. And we're kind of located by, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, it's called Shiprock. And it's like a national monument, and it's pretty sacred to our people. And that area too is, like, I was told it was a hot spot. And I could see why a lot of that stuff is drawn to this area, even out towards my dad's like land. Like, there's a lot of like volcanoes and stuff. It's kind of like, where Antelope Canyon's at. You guys are
No,
familiar with that? No. There's like pictures of it. Like, they're pretty. I'm pretty sure you've seen the photos. It's like a U
probably.
shape, like a river. Yeah, that's where my dad's from, and that's like a. I feel like there's a lot of monuments out there that have like sacred stuff behind them.
Hmm.
Oh, I have another story my dad told me, and this kind of like what tripped me out. Like, I've seen a video on this, and my dad told us this when we were kids. He said there's a, I don't want to say the name of the mountain, but he said, like, one day he was like just horsebacking, and he seen an older man like walking, and he's like, what the heck? Like, this man's out here in the middle of nowhere. Like, that's crazy. And he got off his horse, and he started following that guy. And that guy, he got to like a corner, like where like the guy disappeared, and he kind of like went to the right so the guy wouldn't see him. And he watched that guy for like 5 minutes, I believe, 10 minutes. And he seen that guy like talking to the mountain, like, like talking to it. And he didn't know the words or anything that he was saying. What I'm thinking is he's doing like a chant, and that's what skinwalkers do. It's really not my business to tell about what they do, but that's what my dad told me. And he said he seen the mountain open up. It opened up, and the guy went in, and it closed. And my dad said he went up to that thing, and he said he couldn't find a way to get in or out, and he was just like, what the heck. And that was the story he told. And I seen a video on this just recently, how like these they how they network and stuff. And I'm like, damn, my dad, I didn't really believe him, but that just put like the nail on spot. Like, it just made a lot of sense. And I'm like, damn, my dad told me this stuff years ago, and I didn't really believe him. And I know you guys get that a lot about, like, the listeners, like, they have stories, but they don't want to tell because
Yeah.
they think people are going to think they're crazy. And I was one of those people, the naysayers. And from what my experiences, I know there's stuff out there that we can't comprehend. Yeah. And
Was that in Arizona or was that in New Mexico?
yeah, Arizona, the same spot
Arizona.
where I seen all those things, like the wolf. and the I don't know what the heck it was. I think I would just say it's a rake because the features. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy to think about.
I was kind of wondering that too, if that's what you guys saw was a rake. I was looking at the picture of the guy you were talking about, but he didn't really seem to resemble. Did it have a big nose or no nose, or what was going on with that?
Yeah, that's one thing that stood out. It wasn't a big long nose. It was just like pointy, like at a point. And from the eyes, I wouldn't say they were like our eyes, like human eyes. It was just like dots, like big dots.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I saw a video the other day. I was watching uh, Paranormal Unknown or something like that on TV, and this guy's riding a dirt bike down this trail, and he hears this weird screaming noise.
Uh-huh.
So he leaves. Then he comes back later, like another time, not that same day, and there's trees pushed over the trail where he wanted to go.
Oh, okay.
Um, I think he left again. Then he came back, and the trees were gone, so he went down the trail. And he comes up on this fork in the road, and he's looking around, and I think his bike was like shut his bike off because it got real quiet. He said, and he's looking to the left, and he looks to the right, and you can see this figure, this glowing, skinny figure, walking kind of around the corner toward him at the trail.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you see him. I mean, he's wearing a camera on his head, and he's like looking down, kicking his bike, starting his bike up, trying to back it up, turn around. He's getting the heck out of there. But this thing was actually, it had a head, it had some shoulders, had some arms, but it was like just moving really slow and just being,
Like
that,
quiet.
that rake kind of creepy creature. And
Ah,
I
and the
don't know
quiet.
what the hell that is.
Yeah, and the quiet thing. I think it's because like it's a predator in that area, and I'm pretty sure like yeah, like the first thing is like kick that bike on, get up out of there
Well,
ASAP.
they look like you could breathe on them and they'd fall apart. They're just like skeletons with a little bit of meat on the bones, is what it looks like,
Yeah,
honestly.
honestly, yeah,
So I'd be like, all right, what are you gonna do? Let's go, Rake. Come on, and you give him a
yeah.
pop or
You,
two, and I don't know
I mean, to be
what
honest,
the
like I don't think it would be wise to even try that. But if it came down to it, yeah, I'm gonna
No.
swing. I'm swinging.
yeah.
But yeah, like what's crazy about that first incident I had? I don't remember it having clothes on. I think I was too fixated on the height and the claws and the face. Like this thing had a beard, like Santa Claus or something. Like I swear, like it was just like weird looking. Like I'm like, damn, what the heck? And me and my brother were just like in awe, like, man, we need to get out of here. But you're frozen, like in fear. And it was just crazy because the way it launched, like this thing has some serious, I don't know what it is, like powers or whatever, but this thing has some feet. And I thought that was the real scary part about it. Like this thing can like how quick it can get away or move.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the wolf creature.
Okay.
Do you think it was like a flesh and blood, real physical, that was it kind of thing, or do you think it was more than that?
Yeah, I think it was because the way it was breathing, like I could feel its breath, like the heartbeat, I guess. It was like what another thing about that time when I seen that thing, it kind of hypnotized me. Like I was mesmerized by like how massive the thing was. It kind of put a trance on me. I think what it was like something like that. It's not supposed to be seen, and it just like I was like my brain was trying to register, and I just felt like I had no control over myself, and I was like, like just staring at it. It just everything stopped. Like I'm gonna be real, like the time it just froze. Like everything was just fixated on that. Like I don't remember anything but that. And that's how I know like the details of it, like little details, because like it was just like I really focused in on the features, like the muscle, the colors, like the highlights, the feet, and even those things on the ear. Like that shit really scared me. Like, and I could tell like when it was running, it kind of looked like like at its peripherals, like what I was doing, and it turned, and it's like, oh no, I'm gonna lose this guy. I'm gonna lose this loser, you know. And yeah, I think it was flesh and blood because, like, if people are chasing after it, I think they believe that they can kill it, or it's eating to like survive. Like, say it like killed their one of their cattle or something, So that thing has to live, like unless it's just killing out of no remorse or whatever. But I think this thing was 100% flesh and blood because the breathing, and I could like feel it, like with the first creature. Like, I know that was something supernatural or paranormal, I don't know, but was like I watch a lot of anime, and there's just anime called Bleach, and they thrive off, like, it's called spiritual pressure. And this thing, like, it shocked me, like it put me into fear. Like, so when you come encounter with somebody stronger than you, like, you can feel their power, and that's what I felt, and it just put a trance on me. Like, I just went all black, I went cold, and that thing was like, I felt it, and I was like, oh damn, what the heck? Like, it was radiating. But the other thing, it was just like this thing is a big big dog. Like, it's insane for it to be that size.
What do you think about the first creature that you saw? I mean, do you think it was paranormal? You think it was from another dimension?
Yeah, I think it was because, like, the flickering and the radiating, like, color, like, it was like glowing, like pulsating or something. It looked like, ah man, I can't even explain it. Like I said, it looked like out of a comic book. Like, it was like cut out, like cut out, and it was just like in our dimension, just wandering around, like, and like how it just, like, it blasted off, like, it looked crazy. And I know nothing like flesh and blood could do that. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, that thing, like, it, I would say over a football field, like, length, it took off, like, when it landed, and I could just see it bouncing, like, further and further away. And I could see it because it was radiating, like, that color. It was like bright. It just looked like a newspaper, like, drawing, which was really, like, weird. I couldn't explain it, and I'm like, damn, what the heck is that doing here? What is that? Like, like, I couldn't. Even to this day, I'm trying to explain, like, trying to understand, like, what did I see, and that's the crappy thing, man. Like, I will never know what it is, if I will ever see it. I don't want to see it again, but I'm just saying, like, I'll never know what it is, like, or where it came from and why it's here. But yeah, I know that thing was. It might have been evil. I don't know, but like the way it had those dogs scared, like those dogs were like, they'll tear anything up. I'm telling you, there's like 4 or 5 of them, and these dogs are like bred to be like show dogs or whatever. And these things are muscular to themselves, and they're big, and these things are just, they're like puppies to this thing. Like, it was crazy. Yeah, and another UFO thing I just had was just recent. I think it was like last year. I started at this new barbershop I work at, and I was coming up a hill, and I remember seeing like a flickering light in the sky, like something flickering, like shiny. And I'm like, what the heck? And I was like, what is that? And like, it really caught my attention because I was looking straight ahead at the road, and I just seen like a gleaming thing, like, and I was like, it caught my attention. I looked at it, and it looked like a quarter, and it was just floating. And I want to say, like, I started to put it in perspective. Like, is this an airplane I'm looking at? Because because we have an airport on top of this hill, like, coming into where, or the city I work in, and you can see the airplanes take off that hill, and it was kind of by that area, and you would see like airplanes like move, like, go the direction that they're going, or yeah, direction that they're going, and they would flicker too. And I'm like, oh, that's probably a plane. And it did it again. And I'm watching it, and it's doing these awkward movements. And this thing is like probably like that. And it's going like this, like swaying. Then it's going like that. Like, just, I've seen this thing twice. And crazy thing is, I was cutting one of my customers' hair, and he told me a story about the same thing, but he said he seen it at ground level, like probably a little bit higher than his vehicle. And he said the same thing. It was doing like weird stuff, and he said it looked like a quarter. And I was like, bro, I seen that thing, dude, twice. And he's like, yeah, dude, that thing was crazy. Like that was another thing too that really made me believe that these things are real. You know, I'm still waiting for that Bigfoot encounter one of these days, hopefully. But yeah, let me try to
Well,
think.
with all the things that you've had happen, you just might still have a Bigfoot encounter. You never
Shoot,
know.
probably this weekend. You know what's crazy, you guys? It's my birthday tomorrow, and this was a birthday gift to myself. Like I'm gonna get on that show and I'm gonna tell my stories, and hopefully people can learn from them and be like, "Hey, I seen that thing too," you know?
Nice.
Yeah,
Very
and
awesome. Well, happy
Well,
birthday, man.
happy
Happy
birthday
thank
to
you.
birthday.
you. Yeah.
Appreciate that, you guys.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Make sure you get out in the woods if you want to find that Bigfoot.
Yeah, there's a lot of wooded area out here, man. I'm telling you, we got
Hmm.
the Rockies behind me, and we
Yeah, because
got
you're up. You said you're up north in New Mexico.
yeah, probably I don't. Have you guys been to Durango, Colorado?
No.
No.
No. Oh, okay, well, if you guys do come through, you guys got to stop in Durango and just chill, have some good food, and just enjoy the scenery. It's beautiful out this way, man. I'm telling you, it's a
Yeah, it
lot of
is.
good scenery. You
Well,
know, like
if we make it out that way for a show or something, we'll definitely check it out
Yeah,
and
we'll look you up.
get a hold of you. We can hang out sometime.
dude, that you know what, guys, that would be freaking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So I have one more story before I get
Okay.
off.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I just remembered this, man. So I was probably 18, no 19, and I was dating this girl from my I wouldn't want to say hometown, but the city I was living in, and um she lived in a trailer. I don't want to say any names. So happens she might be listening to this. She'd be like, "Hey, why'd you tell that story? How dare you?" But um, she lived in a trailer and they had no power, which was crazy. And they would, they lived kind of like the old ways, like chop wood, get coal, and I would do that every night for these guys. And we would go on walks and we would just kind of like explore that little area. There's like a back area and it's a little bit along the river, like the San Juan River. And I used to go back there and we just hike and explore like and, and they used to have these hills, like they're big hills. And um we were going through like a little how would you say, it's like a canyon almost. And I remember like I was going through it and to my right I seen like a hole and I'm like, whoa, what the heck is this? Like and what really stood out to me, it looked like a doorway. And I'm like, oh, damn, like I kind of want to go in there. And like the iPhones, they have like a flashlight. And I get down, and but the thing about this, like I could walk, like kind of like bend over, slouch, not all the way to the ground or where I had to crawl in. I'm able to walk, but I'm just like really low, like trying to scoot in. And I get inside, like deep inside of it. I would say about 10, 15 feet into this hole, and I come out. And I'm able to stand up, and I'm like, what the heck, like, and it's like a dome, and I'm like looking at this, like, damn, this is like somebody built this. And the crazy thing about it too was like at the top of it, there's a hole, like for like a fire or something. I don't know. And I'm looking at everything, and I'm like, there's like little furniture and stuff. And my girlfriend at the time, my ex-girlfriend at the time, she comes in and she's like, "Oh, we need to get out of here. Let's get out of here." And she's like, "I don't feel good here." And we get out and we start running. And We get back to her house and we told her mom and stuff, and they're like, she got after us. She got upset, like really upset, and being curious, like us being curious, like we went back a few days later and everything was gone. Like that place was not there anymore. Like I remember walking through it because like the hill, it was like the only part that it's split, and there's like a little like a groove. And I remember I went on top of this like it's like a big, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a rock, and it's like pointed, and I climbed up on top and I took a picture. Or my ex-girlfriend, she took a picture of me, and I jumped off, and that's how I seen like this little canyon. I was like, hey, let's go up that way. That's the direction we went, and I seen that hole. And I remember because that rock was right in front of that spot, and we went back over there, and it was gone. I don't know what happened or who did what or like who destroyed it. But the thing is about it, it looked like nothing was ever there. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't exist.
What part of what area was this in?
Uh, the part I'm from, northern Mexico. It's like I would say I don't want to give out the exact location where I'm at.
It's okay. Just an area of the state, maybe.
Yeah, northern New Mexico. Still like on the Navajo Nation.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was, and I've heard stories about this. And, like when we're out, like hanging out in the boonies and stuff, like and doing our bad boy stuff, and people would talk about, yeah, there's like little people out here, like you got to watch out for them because they'll take you. And I'm like, what the heck, I'm from the city, and like hearing this kind of stuff, like you don't hear it, like I'm saying, whatever, you guys are crazy. And I honestly think I came across something like that, like a house or like a hidden, I don't know, like a home or establishment, and they did something and it disappeared. Or maybe like they're whatever they do, like that day I was able to see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, man,
It could have just been open at that
it
time, and
yeah, exactly. It was like a portal was open or something. I don't know, like camouflage was off.
mhm.
And I was like, damn, what, like it creeped me out because like it looked perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like it was smooth. Like I remember the walls, like I was like, damn, what the heck? Like if this stuff is small, like little kids did this, like they're freaking good at, architecture or whatever. And I'm like, there ain't no way, because you got to think about the hill caving in. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, dang, it was really surreal. And another thing I was told too, like they like to hang out at the rivers, and there was that river right there. It's a big river. But yeah, like we got, I guess you're not supposed to mess with like their stuff or whatever, and and I guess we came upon like where they live, and we were told like it could have brought a lot of bad luck to us and like a lot of disturbances, unwanted, I guess, unnecessary. We put
Yeah,
upon us.
there's a lot of strange stuff going on in that part of the United States. Honestly, I mean, you're not really super far from Skinwalker Ranch. I mean, you're
Oh
a distance from there, but there's just that area in general,
yeah,
the corner of those
There's,
states. I mean, who knows what's going on
you
there?
know what's crazy? One of those shows came out here. I think it was Ghost Adventures or something. We had a show. I think it was like one of my friends. Um, he kind of lives by the area too, and it's called Skinwalker Cave. Like you can actually look it up. You can probably watch the episode. They actually, what's crazy about that first um part of that episode, I think it's a kid or a young adult man. He talks about little people. You guys got to watch that episode. I think it's called Skinwalker Cave or something. But yeah, he talks about that, and it's pretty creepy stuff, man. And I think a lot of that like I remember hearing this on your guys' a previous episode. Like, people going missing. I think that's a lot to do with that kind of stuff.
Could
People,
be.
like they don't know the terrain or what's out there, and traveling at night, like walking, or even having like bonfires and parties, and you have a person that just wanders off maybe to use the restroom and never comes back. And I think that's a lot to do with it. Like dog man, little people,
Yeah.
stuff like that, man. It's
Yeah, I just looked up the little people. Yeah, they're out there in the Rocky Mountains.
yeah, you see, like I'm telling you, man. And seeing this stuff, like it I'm like, damn, what the heck? Like, and the minute I seen all that stuff, like the furniture, I don't like I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. I wasn't supposed to see any of that stuff. You know? I
Yeah.
wish I could erase it from my mind, like my memory and stuff, because I know it was a bad thing on my part to be in there or even think about going in that hole. First off, I shouldn't be going in a hole, period.
No.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, just grab my feet. If something grabs me, try to.
Don't go into random holes you find in the Rockies.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, let's
well, be careful because these little people apparently are very aggressive.
Yeah. They mean business.
Yeah.
They're Yeah, and I hear like the magic and stuff.
well,
That
let's
they
think about this. How old is the United States as far as Declaration of Independence? Are 250 years old, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's been inhabitants of Europe here since what? 50 years, 100 years before
Long
that,
time.
maybe.
Hmm.
You know, but you got to think about it. No one's ever been, but prior to that, except for the natives and the Indians, who will talk about these things, right? They'll talk about Bigfoot. They'll talk about skinwalkers. They'll probably talk about the little people. They've been here. We haven't been here long enough to really start discovering everything. I mean, people think, oh, we got it all figured out, but we don't.
No way.
All the mountain ranges in the Rockies, and yeah, I'm not surprised. From what we're hearing, I'm not surprised that there's little people running
Yeah.
around.
It's just like how you guys talk about like, Bigfoot is they're just like us. They never
Yeah.
evolved or, you know, I think that's the same with the little people. So I think
As long
that's
as
a
they
big
can
thing.
keep reproducing and thriving in their
Yeah.
environment,
Yeah.
and
This
environment does have a lot to do with, um, you know, evolution as far as creatures go. I mean, if we didn't have the wooded areas we have, or the caves or the mountains we have, we wouldn't have the creatures we have here.
Yep.
And wherever
Maybe.
these little people came from, I've said this 100 times. We got everything from microscopic little tiny creatures, little take an ant up to a blue whale on this earth, and everything in between that can swim, walk, crawl,
Fly.
fly. Why wouldn't we have smaller beings? Why wouldn't we have Bigfoot? Why wouldn't we have these things on here? Why not?
Mhm. Exactly.
Just because we haven't discovered them yet, because this country's, as we declare it as United States of America, is only 250 some years old, whatever it is. That's not enough time to explore every nook and cranny of this
Yeah. It's
country.
still early on. Who knows?
Oh yeah, we're still real young in the
Yeah.
grand scheme of things.
Maybe like our great grandchildren will know what these things are. Or who knows? I don't know.
Maybe.
And
We'll
as far as we
coincide.
know, new things are coming upon this earth or coming into this earth for some reason, somehow, some way. Maybe
Yeah, even
through
in the ocean too, man. Right now,
evolution, or maybe
Oh,
they're
the
being,
ocean, man. No, don't even get me started on the ocean.
dude.
maybe
Like
they're,
90% of the Earth, I right
That's a
is
whole nother show.
yeah, man. Let's do another hour right now. I'm just kidding.
Oh
Yeah,
right
I hear
on.
you, man.
We can get you back on sometime, man. We can talk about more stuff.
heck yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Shoot, I'm down anytime.
right
Yeah, that
on,
was
brother.
fun.
We
Yeah,
appreciate you being here tonight with us, Dev.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Those
do.
are my stories. I hope somebody like takes note from this and is able to share their experiences, even from my area, even the Navajo Nation or any other reservation out there,
Exactly.
like,
Well, yeah, that's what we hope for every show that we do, that somebody else will hear your stories, and that'll help
yeah,
them come forward.
shed some light and don't be afraid, you know,
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. You guys, like you guys said, man, I appreciate being on the show. Those are my stories. And if I ever think about anything else, or if I have a further experience, I'm going to hit you guys up.
Definitely do that,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Hey,
Absolutely.
happy birthday, brother.
And happy
Thank you,
birthday.
my guys. I appreciate that. My son's going to be so happy to hear this.
What's your son's
Hey,
name?
His name is Alexi Yazi.
Alexi? Yazi? All right.
Alexi, how
Yeah.
you
Give a
doing, man?
We're gonna give a shout out to Alexi, brother.
Hey,
Good
give a
to
shout out to my other son, Kais.
Caius?
Yeah.
Kai,
Caius? Give a shout out to you too. Alexi and Caius. All right.
Oh,
right
also,
on, man.
my
Your dad
brother
did a
Robert.
good job.
My brother Robert. He's the one that put me onto you guys.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Robert. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
Heck
Robert, thanks
yeah.
for listening, brother. Thanks all you guys for listening. Thanks for being here tonight, Dev,
Yeah, we
and
do.
shout
We
out to
appreciate it.
everybody. Yeah, man.
Yeah, no problem, you guys. You guys have a good one. I appreciate everything. Thank you for the happy birthdays.
You got it,
You
man.
guys
Yeah,
have a
man.
good one. Be safe out
Thanks
there.
for coming on and sharing
All
your
right.
stories.
Yep.
Yeah. See you guys.
Take care,
All
brother.
right, Dev.